Hey everyone, my name is Sean Arnold and welcome to my Yu-Gi-Oh! Legacy of the Duelist online ranked series. A series where just a generic duelist, like to make videos on different deck variations and put commentary over them and say what's good and what's not so good. And this is a series which I've been doing for a while. Before getting into any of the commentary for this episode, I wanted to just make a quick note for those who have been long-time fans of my series, and that is to just quickly say my apologies for my long-time absence, and thank you to those who have been sending me messages asking when the next video is going to be. Please know I do not take it for granted. I just had some things to sort out, and now that I'm back, I'm hoping to get back into a regular schedule again. In my absence, or during the time that I've had off, Yu-Gi-Oh! Has finally received its 2016 update, and this is a really interesting time for Yu-Gi-Oh! Fans because never has there been a game which has had such a large amount of content added in one go. This is literally like a year's worth of brand new cards added to this game, and it's a drastic change. Whether you play online as simulators or whether you buy a new standalone game every now and then, you always kind of have what you have. If you're playing the official game or playing online, you're getting that kind of drip feed of new cards, but never to such a scale as what was updated to Legacy of the Duelist. So my intentions are for the next couple of videos are to kind of highlight some of those new additions and some of those cards which have made a big splash into the community over the past year or so. And the first one which I'm going to go into today is Card of Demise. Card of Demise was a big card when it first came out. Everybody was discussing about this card when it first came out. It's kind of quieted down. It had a big impact to begin with, but as people get used to it, as most people do, it's become less important over time. But at the time, it was a really big change because it's a generic draw card. It's a card which has the effect that allows you to draw up to 3 cards into your hand until you get basically 3 cards into your hand. However, it has a really steep cost, and that cost is you cannot special summon for the turn, and for the rest of the turn you cannot special summon. No, you cannot special summon for the turn, but for the rest of the turn you can also no longer do damage. So in an environment where special summoning equals advantage in this game right now, not every deck can kind of run it, but those that can have kind of been rejuvenated. And one of those archetypes is the Yosenju archetype, which I'm using on screen right now. As you can see, I'm playing against Topher Lyot, and here's a Watt deck. And Watts are, they're not an old archetype, but they're not necessarily new either. But they've been around for a while, and they're a deck which likes to stun their opponents and attack with lots of weak monsters. They do a lot of damage in a lot of small bursts, and they can be quite deadly when they're used effectively, especially with cards like Watt Cancel, which can negate your summons by discarding one Watt monster. So gotta be careful with what I'm playing against here, and try not to take too much damage, but hopefully I'll be able to show off some of the new cards which are available to decks like Yosenju's at the moment. So I've talked about Card of Demise. Another card which I used earlier, I believe, was Into the Void. Into the Void is not a new card, it's been around for a while, but it works so well with Card of Demise because it is a card which you can only activate when you have 3 or more cards in your hand, and it also forces you to discard your hand at the end of the turn, like like Card of Demise does. And so when used together, you kind of don't have to worry about the downside, kind of like using multiple Reckless Greeds at the same time, because they both trigger at the same point in time, and therefore you're not losing anything more than you normally would. Plus, with your Senjus being what they are, they return themselves to the hand, and they do that after cards like Card of Demise and Into the Void resolve their final effects, so they're not so bad. So thanks to Gold Sarcophagus, I just added another version of Card of Demise to my hand, and this time I'm going to summon out Yosenju Cover 2 and see if my opponent's got anything to respond with. I don't think so. I have a feeling that it should be safe for me to play a lot of my monsters right now, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring out Cover 3, and then I'm going to use his effect to bring out Suchkin, if I pronounced that correctly, and I'm going to try and make a bit of a push this turn and do some damage to my opponent. That being said, I do need to still need to be careful of my opponent's monsters. The monster he is on the field right now is Watt Dragonfly, And what Dragonfly has an effect where once it is destroyed and sent to the graveyard either by card effect or battle, he gets to search his deck for any what monster and special summon it to the field. And I really don't want him to be making more plays like that. So what I'm going to do in this turn is I'm going to first attack with Kama 2, and that's going to attack directly, see if he responds at all. Well, it seems like he didn't, thankfully. So now I'm going to activate Kama 3. Kama 3 is going to allow me to add one Yosenju monster from my deck to my hand, and the one which I'm going to go for is Yugioh, because I do plan to play card Demise in main phase 2, and Yugioh, being a pendulum monster, can easily be put down on the field regardless of the fact that I've already normal summoned so many times. Now I am going to attack what Dragonfly. I just realized that I should have used Sujikid's or Sujikid, no, Sujik, that's how you pronounce it. Sujik's effect to double his add 1000 attack to a monster. I forgot to do that. And with what Dragonfly being destroyed, it tried to use his effect, but then I got to use another new card, which is Solemn Strike. Solemn Strike is a card which you can run in free, and it's basically Solemn Warning but cheaper. Solemn Strike is a really good card. It's a very powerful card, and if you want to kind of counter the meta, you can run it in freeze. For the cost of 1500 life points, you can negate a special summon, or you can negate the effect of a monster. And in the current environment where monsters activate their effects from the hand, from the graveyard, from the banished pile, from the extra deck, and the field, or even the deck in some situations, having an effect like Solemn Strike, which can kind of just hit any area of the field, is really useful and versatile. Plus it's also good at stopping pendulum summons, which it's good to hit them in one go if you can get it to work. Another card which I just used that's brand new to the game is Galaxy Cyclone. Galaxy Cyclone is kind of like MST on crack, although I won't call it too crazy. I will call it about even in strength with MST. But what its effect is it's a normal spell card, and you can target one face down card on the field and destroy it. Now it does have a second effect, which I'll talk about in a little bit, but first let's look at what Topher is trying to do. He summons Wat Lima, and that will trigger Wat Cannon, do another 600 damage to me, and he's going to keep on poking at my life points, I believe. Wat Lima has an effect where if it is destroyed by my opponent's card, or by my cards, then I will not be able to do my battle phase for the next turn. So I take the 800 damage that hits me directly, and I'm kind of in a losing state in this situation. There's a big life point lead between his life points and mine. However, I believe I have all the resources to really take advantage of the current situation. Just drawn into another copy of Galaxy Cyclone. So first, I am now going to show you Galaxy Cyclone's second effect, and that is you can banish it from the graveyard. Once you do, you can destroy one face up card on the field. So when played from your hand, you can destroy one face down card on the field. When banished from the graveyard, you can destroy one face up card on the field, kind of giving it the opportunity to destroy two cards. It's a good variation on MST in my opinion, especially because it can be used multiple times, and you really do want some decent level of back row control in this day and age, because it really helps out in the long run. So using my second Galaxy Cyclone, I'm trying to destroy his face down card, but he responds, special summoning Wat Dragonfly from his graveyard to the field again, hoping to special summon more monsters, I believe, and then Galaxy Cyclone resolves. I don't know if I like Galaxy Cyclone more than MST. The advantage of MST is that of course it's a quick play, and then of course there's Twin Twister. Decks like Yosenju's I don't really think work well with Twin Twister, because they don't have cards which you really want to send to the graveyard and activate in the graveyard, so they don't really take advantage of effects like Twin Twister. But I will be showing off some decks in the future that do take advantage of cards like that. But I like Galaxy Cyclone in a deck like this, but mostly I wanted to just show it off for the purpose of this video. So now I've activated Tenki. I managed to search out Kama 1, the final piece missing from my Kama lineup, and now I'm going to summon all of my monsters onto the field and start playing a bit more aggressively. I believe if I do this right, this should be the final turn, in fact. So out comes Kama 3, then comes Sujik. I always have a tough time pronouncing that name properly. And Sujik comes out, And now we've got all the monsters we need, and yeah, it's time to really make something happen in this turn or so. So there are a lot of brand new cards there. There is another card which I didn't show, which is in this deck, but hopefully maybe in the future I will show it. What's very different about the meta or the way decks are played currently as opposed to in the past is you don't necessarily have a meta where it's defined by different types of decks, where it's more of a meta which is defined by different variations of a type of a deck. So let's say one of the best decks at the moment is a Monarch archetype. You will get different variations of Monarchs that do really well. Domain Monarchs do very well, whereas extra deck Monarchs also do very well. And this is just one variation of Yosenjus that are currently available. I will be showing off different variations of different decks, hopefully maybe one for each episode. I don't really want to be repeating the same deck too much, and there's a lot to get through, but I might do another Yosenju video because there are some more cards here which I want to show off. One card which I face down on the field right now, which is really good in the current format, is Rivalry of Warlords. Although it's not going to help me too much in this situation, it is a very powerful floodgate. And if you have a deck where you're running a lot of monsters of the same type, consider running Rivalry as well, if you think you can just kind of lock down your opponent's deck and kind of shut them down. Especially in Legacy of the Duelist, where we only have 1-for-1 duels online. If you're able to shut down your opponent's deck like that, it's pretty much an auto win, so it's pretty strong there. So using the effect of Kama 1 and Castell, I've managed to clear my opponent's field of their monsters, and now I'm going to attack my opponent directly and do a nice chunk of damage. I believe I did remember to use Sujik's effect this time, so hooray for me. I've got a nice beefy Kama 1 there at 2700, and thanks to Tenki, I'm also able to buff their attack a little bit by 100 attack, and so we're going to do a lot of damage to my opponent, and this should be pretty much almost enough to kill, leaving him with 200 life points left. Kama 3 did activate then, but I'm not even going to bother. I'm pretty confident I'm going to win right now. There's nothing else he can really do, so I'm going to go for Cowboy. Cowboy will allow me to burn him a little bit in order to do enough damage. He's probably really kind of salty right now that I was able to take this game back so easily, but hey, that's just the nature of the game in this situation. So Cowboy has an effect where if it is in defense position, you can attach one card and do 800 damage to your opponent, but lo and behold, my opponent decides to rage quit, which is still a problem in the current Yu-Gi-Oh environment. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for tuning into this video. Thank you for those who've been waiting for a while as I type a kind message to my opponent. It feels really good to be back. Please bear with me as I get back into the swing of things. And I don't know if I mentioned it already, I am going to be making a video separate to this about my thoughts on the update. I'm sure everyone knows what the update is, but I have a couple of personal thoughts which I want to share. So thank you very much for watching once again, and for all the support. Recently broke 2,000 subscribers, which is awesome. Please leave a like if you do so, if you don't mind. Please write a comment. I always read my comments. I love receiving comments. They're worth to me more than subscribers and views. And if you want to be so kind, feel free to subscribe.